this is Anna from Savvy Cat Realty, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Silver Coast. This is actually a fairly confusing topic, but for those of you who don't know, and just to start our presentations, I am the owner of Savvy Cat Realty. Savvy Cat Realty is a relocation and investment agency that helps expats move to Portugal from a lifestyle and sustainability perspective. We are a team of locals, and our goal is to provide as much information and safety as possible to our clients, which are people looking to move and live in Portugal, and help them end up in the right location for their own lifestyle needs and purchase or rent prices at fair prices from or rent properties at fair prices from an internal market perspective. If this makes sense to you, please do check our website in www.savvycatrealty.com. So this week's topic is the Silver Coast. And the Silver Coast is kind of a confusing thing because it is a terminology that does not exist in Portugal. It is purely used and created by foreigners. And although the first time I started hearing about the term Silver Coast was when I was living down in the Algarve, and the Silver Coast was considered to be the Atlantic coast. Well, the Atlantic coast is very, very big. I mean, our country has a lot of coast. So I personally tend to consider the Silver Coast the surfing area that tends to go between Lisbon and Foz do Arelho, and more specifically between Ericeira and Nazaré. So that's where what I consider to be the heart of the Silver Coast in Portugal. If you disagree, I would love to hear your opinion, because I'm personally also still a bit confused about what the Silver Coast is. So let's consider the Silver Coast between, like I said, Ericeira and Nazaré. Ericeira is a town that is about half an hour, 40 minutes from Lisbon. So it's very, very close to Lisbon, just slightly north of it. And then Nazaré is further to the north of the country, a bit up from Caldas da Rainha. So these are the main surfing destinations in Portugal, Nazaré and Ericeira being the most renowned ones. I'm going to be doing a small overview of all the towns that are located in this stretch of coast in Portugal. And I am going to start from Ericeira to Nazaré. So Ericeira, like I said, is the one that is closest to Lisbon, so it is the one that also allows you to have a more diverse and a more active lifestyle. It has a very international community with a huge focus on surfing. It is known to be a surfing patrimony, and it is a huge community around that, very young community, a bit all over in ages, to be honest. So it is a very active town with commerce, with tourism, with all kinds of amenities and good transportation networks to Lisbon. So honestly, out of all of the Silver Coasts, Ericeira is the most developed town that also has, of course, the highest prices. So I made this kind of classification system to give you an idea of the pros and cons of each of these cities. So starting in Ericeira, on a scale of 0 to 5, I suppose, 1 to 5, I rated tourism in Ericeira as a 4.5. And I also made a rating for wind, because personally I find that to be one of the most significant things in these coastal towns. They can get very, very windy. Ericeira is not that bad. I would say it's slightly above average, so I rated as a 3 on wind. I rated it as a 4 on amenities. As I said, it is the most developed town in the Silver Coast area. And as a 4.5 on transportation, being also the one with the highest rating in the Silver Coast area. Like I said, this also reflects on the prices. So Ericeira is the most expensive out of all of these towns that I'm going to mention, having prices between 2,500 to 4,000 euros per square meter. These are fairly high prices. The lower prices tend to be on not coastal locations, so a bit more towards the interior, or more isolated locations. So if you are looking at something that is central in the walking distance and even with the sea view, it's probably going to be more on the 4,000 range. So these, like I said, are not cheap prices. This is not necessarily an affordable location. It is definitely a very charming location with great development. There is a lot of things that are recovered and interesting architecture, lots of stores and amenities, interesting restaurant, shopping places, coffee shops. It's a very active town. It has a lot of events around surfing and some other events too. So very interesting town in this location. There is also a bunch of different beaches around this location. As you start going towards the next town in the Silver Coast, which is Lourinhã, you have a number of beaches along these locations that are fairly famous for, not famous, but they have a few hotels and a few stops, and there is urbanization all the way from Ericeira to Lourinhã. If you go through the national roads along the coast between these two cities, you will find that it is non-stop urbanized. So there is a number of beaches throughout these two locations. The first ones being Lisandro, then Matadouro, then Coxos, and then Praia da Calada, which is the closest one to Lourinhã. Lourinhã is like I said, the next town. It is a much smaller town. It's actually not that small, but it's definitely smaller than Ericeira. And it's one of the less known in this area. Lourinhã is actually very much themed around dinosaurs, because there was a bunch of discoveries of fossils and interesting Jurassic mostly period discoveries in this area. And there is a museum and also a park that it's not exactly in Lourinhã, it's a bit more towards the interior. And the town definitely capitalized on the whole dinosaur thing. You have this dinosaurs spread out through the town, and it's very cute, and it's like Pokemon. You can kind of go through the town and try to take a photo of all the dinosaurs. I don't know if I got them all, but I tried. And it's not a super developed town. I would say that it's been steadily growing. You have constructions from all the decades, older stuff, newer stuff. You have a bit of everything, both villas and apartment options, and is a lot more affordable than Ericeira. Lourinhã is technically not on the coast, but it's like 5 minutes from the closest beach, which is Praia da Areia Branca, which is very pleasant. I think you can even walk there, but it's probably going to be like 20, 30 minutes walk, I think. So, but I still kind of considered it a coastal city. So, Lourinhã, like I said, it's fairly affordable, and you will be finding prices in this area between 1,300 and 2,500 per square meter. And it is, regarding the classifications that I mentioned before, on tourism, it's not that touristic. I would rate it probably a 1.5, maybe 2 with the whole dinosaur thing. Honestly, it's the only thing that people go to Lourinhã. I don't even know if there's hotels in Lourinhã. People just go there to see the museum and visit the dinosaur park. So there is really not that much tourism there. Regarding wind, it's actually not that bad. It's probably similar to Ericeira, so I would also rate it at a 3. It's windy, but not horribly windy. And when it comes to amenities, it does have some, but it does not have a lot of options at all. I would rate it a 2 out of 5 on amenities and also a 2 out of 5 on transports. Out of all these locations, I would say that Ericeira is the only one you could live mostly comfortably without a car. In most of the others, I definitely recommend having a car. So the next location after Lourinhã would be Peniche. And Peniche is kind of a bay, a peninsula. It's kind of put out to the sea. So I would start with that, but it's the windiest location. I would say that it's the two windiest locations in Portugal are probably Peniche and down south, Sagres. Those are probably the two windiest locations in Portugal, so keep that in mind. But despite this very, very intense wind, Peniche is actually quite popular. And it was very developed around whale commerce and hunting at the time. There was even a little church in Baleal, so there's this beach right next to Peniche that is Baleal, that is also very known for surfing. And it also had this little church with a full whale skeleton. I think they removed it, I don't know why, but it was really a sight, an interesting thing to visit. Like I said, Peniche is still fairly popular among foreigners, and there is a big community of foreigners in Peniche. And the prices there range between 1,800, 1,700 for apartments and 3,600. You also have I would say you have some older construction, but a lot of new construction happening in the past 10 years or so. So you will find a lot of modern villas and apartments. Not a lot, but quite a few. It's still not exactly a big location. So regarding the other classifications, when it comes to tourism, I would rate it a 3 out of 5. When it comes to wind, a 5 out of 5. When it comes to amenities, I would put it at 2.5. Like, you have most things you need, but not too many options. Not very much options, to be honest. And when it comes to transports, I would rate it a 2 out of 5. I definitely recommend having a car in this type of locations. Once again, you have quite a few beaches along until the next town, which is Foz do Arelho. And many of them are not that renowned. Like between Peniche and Lourinhã, you have Peralta, Valtimão, Porto Novo, Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is a well-known one for surfing. And then Foz de São Cisandro. Just Cisandro, Foz do Cisandro. And then the next location, Foz do Arelho, before, right, it's like Foz is where the river meets the sea, so that's exactly what happens in there. So on the Arelho sides, you have a really small town with some very interesting views, and on the other side, you have the Praia del Rei area, which has a golf course and a resort. So, of course, the resort side is a bit more expensive, but the Foz do Arelho side is actually quite affordable. And once again, it is quite a small town. So here you can find still prices under 1,000 euros per square meter up to 2,800 euros per square meter. And there is also quite a lot of new construction happening in the past 10 years. I did go there quite a lot back when I was in university, like 13, 15 years ago. And this time when I went to explore a bit again, I realized that there is a lot of new villas and a lot of new construction. It's not a big town, so it's easy to spot. And some very modern ones too. And there is also these walkways, the Wildwood walkways that have really amazing views. Regarding the classifications on this area, I would say tourism-wise, I would rate it as a 2. It's not particularly popular at all. Wind-wise, I would rate it at 4.5. It's better than Peniche, but it's still really, really windy. Amenities-wise, I would rate it as 1. It's really, really a place where you need a car to go anywhere. There is just really the basic there. And transport-wise, the same thing. You don't really have transport to Foz do Arelho, just bus. That's it. Like I said, on the other side of the Foz, you have the golf course, but going towards the north, as we are continuing this comparison, you will have São Martinho do Porto and Salir do Porto. Another thing important to mention is that from Peniche to Foz do Arelho and from Foz do Arelho to Salir and São Martinho do Porto, there is some urbanization. You will have some spread around villas and actually some quite modern villas that popped up recently, but you don't really have constant stream of urbanization like you have from Lourinhã to Ericeira. And going to São Martinho do Porto and Salir do Porto, they are in a bay. There is this lake, almost lake-like sea area that is a natural bay. And on one side you have São Martinho do Porto, and on the other side you have Salir do Porto. Salir do Porto is mostly a villa location. It has some small apartment, like 2-3-story max buildings, but it's mostly an exclusively villa area with very little commerce, just some coffee shops and 1 or 2 restaurants around. And it developed a lot in the past 10 years. I was shocked. It basically doubled or tripled in size, and there's a lot of new villas and constructions popping up around, and still a lot of construction happening. So in this area, you can find prices between 1,800 and 2,200 per square meter, which is like average nice prices for the area. And if you go towards the other side, São Martinho do Porto, which is a lot more scenic, to be honest, it's a lot prettier, and it also has a lot more of an international community. I'm rating the two together because honestly they are like 5 minutes apart by car, and they're just slightly different towns. I don't even know if they're considered towns. They're almost like villages, to be honest. So on the São Martinho do Porto, you actually can find some slightly cheaper property, but probably mostly run down one. But then you also have some higher prices for the more developed things. So you will go in the São Martinho do Porto side, you can find property from 1,000 to 3,000 euros per square meter, depending of course on location, view, state, and so on and so forth. This area I am rating mostly based on São Martinho do Porto. Like I said, this side is a bit more developed. And tourism-wise, I would rate it a 3 because it does have a lot of international restaurants. It has this really, really beautiful charm hotel and a few other hotels, and it has this really unique view. Because it is in a bay and it is kind of protected from the wind, it is one of the most pleasant locations wind-wise in the Silver Coast. So I rate it as a 2 out of 5 on wind. Amenities-wise, I would rate it as a 3.5 out of 5. It does have a bit of everything, and I think you can find basically everything you need for your daily life, but you won't have a wide range of options. And it's still probably much easier to get a car to go anywhere in a bigger town. The closest medium town is Caldas da Rainha. And you do have like buses there, but it's not that frequent. It's probably a lot easier to have a car. And for that reason, I rate the transportation as a 1 out of 5. So, this area, the next one, is the last town that we have in this video for the Silver Coast area, which is Nazaré. And Nazaré is, you probably heard of it as the big wave town. It got incredibly popular as a surfing destination after the documentary about the big wave made some years back. And Nazaré developed a lot in the last 15 years or so because of that. So Nazaré became very popular in the huge international community. It's also fairly active culturally, and you have a lot of surfing events, as you can imagine. And the prices in this area range between 2,000 and 3,750. So almost 4,000. They are not as high as Ericeira, but they are not too far behind. You can still find some more affordable property, mostly some more rundown property, but the new property, especially with good views, will be at prices very similar to Ericeira. And I would say that Ericeira is a bit more developed. Nazaré does have everything you need, and it even has the markets and a very nicely active community. But it does not have the proximity to Lisbon that Ericeira has, so it does not have as much convenience from a transportation perspective either. So going into the ratings, I would rate tourism in Nazaré as a 4 out of 5, the wind as a 3 out of 5, the amenities as a 3.5 out of 5, and the transportation as a 3 out of 5. You do have intercity buses, and there is the local trains, which only take you to like Caldas, and I don't advise you to go very far on those. They really are the ones that stop everywhere kind of trains. You know, they also stop in São Martinho do Porto, and Peniche. I'm not sure about Peniche, to be honest. But yeah, they are one of those that stop everywhere and take forever to get anywhere, and they are not that frequent either. So I don't really consider them a reliable source of transportation. So this, I believe, gives you an overview of the Silver Coasts. I hope this was useful. I would love to hear your feedback. Have you visited these locations? Which one was your favorite? Do you like this kind of videos where I'm analyzing a broader area? And for those of you who don't know, we are here every week. Savvy Cat launches new videos every week about useful topics for those looking to move to Portugal or already living in Portugal. We help people either wanting to rent or to buy from a lifestyle perspective. Feel free to reach out to us at contact.savvycatrealty.com or check our website in www.savvycatrealty.com. And of course, if you find this useful, please do subscribe and keep up to date with our content. So I hope to see you all next week and that you have a wonderful time. Bye.